Hey, good day, everybody. This is Rob Mazak. I am a psychic medium. And if you've ever heard my podcasts before, you will know that I'm not much of a guy that likes to script things. I will occasionally read things to prove a point, perhaps, but I like to take some ideas, just really see where it will take us, take me, take all of us. And so tonight, I wanted to focus on something a little bit different than usual. I mean, I will always put in some metaphysical spirituality and all of that into it. But I wanted to talk a little bit about feelings, I guess, is probably the biggest thing or biggest topic that comes to mind. Because I am a soccer player. I have been playing soccer for quite some time now. Let's see, so 18 years, I think. I guess that's what it is. 64 now. Started late. But the thing is that I absolutely love it. And I go out and I play, and I really play hard. And, of course, I'm not a professional, so there's a lot of things that could be worked on, given the time, of course. Life gets in the way with that most of the time. I mean, we got to work, we got to eat, we got to take care of a lot of different things. But I do put in my time and I do practice as much as I can throughout the week, before the games that I play on Sunday. And this last Sunday, I played 3 games in a row. Sounds pretty brutal. I mean, I play as a goalkeeper, so I'm not running the whole time. However, it is a long time to play soccer, 4.5 hours on one day, back to back. However, that's not really what I'm here to talk about. I'm not here to pat myself on the back about all that. I just wanted to kind of demonstrate that my passion for soccer is just, over the top, I guess. And I really take a lot of stock in it. And I've been playing for a while. Have you ever had one of those days where something that happens with an interaction with somebody just really irks the stuffing out of you and you can't figure out how to change your mood? I mean, it's like it just really sours your day. Those people that you work with that you don't want to work with, people that you have to be with throughout the day, whether it's work or not. You just have to be around people that just seem to drain your energy and change your mood. And it really is very frustrating. And I know we're in charge of our own feelings and we're in charge of our own moods and we're running our own path, and that people should not affect you. But, and even though I'm really good at recognizing that and understanding it, and I talk about it a lot, I found myself this morning just could not shake this. I don't know what kind of feeling it was, if it was anger or just, I don't know, it felt a little bit depressing. And so I play in front of this, I should say this guy plays in front of me when I'm in the goal as the sweeper. And we are an older team, it's over 50. This guy is very interesting. Not here to talk bad about people, because we're going to touch on that a little bit too, but this person seems to expect absolute perfection out of me in the goal. And I understand that we're out there to try to win a game, but we are an amateur team. We are not getting paid for this. We are just out there to be glad that at 64, and some of my teammates are like 80, almost 80. We're just out there because we can still do it, and it's a lot of fun. And it's competitive, and don't get me wrong, we try hard to win. But personally, for me, winning, losing, or draw, whatever, I am out there to have a good time and do the best that I can do. And really push my body, just have a lot of fun. But this guy just, I don't know, I played the first game, and it was just amazing. I mean, we lost by 1, and I had like 17 saves. I mean, it was ridiculous. Shots all over the place. And it was really a wonderful atmosphere, and everybody had a good time. Nobody bashed me. Nobody came over and tried to pretend they knew how to do goalkeeping. I mean, it was just so much fun. It's not even one of my official teams. I just picked up an extra game, and maybe that was part of it. This next game that I played, this fella that was playing in front of me just sets this really depressing tone. And I can handle that, but over time it just really starts to wear on you, and sometimes it just sticks like glue. You know that feeling, right? Where somebody just gets you, and you just don't know how to change that feeling or get rid of it. It's like I can understand, because people yell at me all the time. I get it. It's like being a quarterback on a football team, in the NFL. If you watch the Cowboys, right? The quarterback gets all the blame, even though there's still 10 other people on the field. The quarterback takes the brunt of the blame, and he's the one that's up there getting bashed, and everybody's yelling at him, right, or them. And it's the same as a goalkeeper, I think, in a lot of ways, is because, we are the mistakes that you make cost points, and it is very difficult to not be in the spotlight. I get that. I'm up for the challenge. And when people yell at me, great. But if they yell at me and they give me a hard time, whatever, and then they go back to playing, that's fine, right? It doesn't really set that tone. But when you have a person like I'm talking about that not only gives you a hard time about it, yells at you, but then continues to glare back at you and continues to beat you up about something, it just won't leave it alone. And it really just puts a damper on the way I play. And I try not to let it bother me, but I don't know, there's something about this fella that really gets to me, I guess. And I understand that people are in our lives. We all have them. Personal emotional trainers or pets, right? Where people are in our life to teach us things, to make us stronger, to make us better, to get us moving in a direction, to challenge us so that we're not, in other words, trying to make us more than we really are. Because the way I view myself, and the view that I have of the way I play seems pretty good. I know I got work to do, but somebody from the outside is going to look at that and go, man, that was the easiest thing you could have ever saved, and you just botched it. Oh, sure, I get it. It happens. We're humans. But the thing is that when you continue to beat up on people and you continue to set that tone, you just really take the wind out of their sails. And I woke up this morning after that game. We won the game. It wasn't a huge deal. It was like 4-2. But the two that I did let go past me were actually pretty easy. For some reason, I don't know what happened. Doesn't matter, I guess. But there's obviously reasons for that as well, which we can probably come back to. For some reason, this guy just, you get my point. We all have those people, right? We just can't seem to understand how they can push our buttons and really just, And so I woke up this morning and he was still on my mind. And I just, for the life of me, I couldn't seem to get back in a better mood. And it was really frustrating because I'm like, why am I allowing this person to dictate my day and how productive I can be at work? Because at work, in the military, I am really good at what I do. And I'm good at a lot of things. And I'm not saying I don't need to improve. I'm not saying that. Really doesn't take much from somebody, that right somebody, to really make you question who you are and question perhaps what you're doing. I mean, I had a lot of thoughts throughout the morning today of, maybe I should just leave this team. I mean, what's the point of playing with a bunch of people that don't appreciate you being there, even though they invited you and they wanted you there because they don't have a goalkeeper? and yet the whole time they give you a bunch of crap about it. And it just kept running those scenarios throughout my mind. But, I also had that back and forth in my mind. We all do this, right? I know you do. I do it. Where you're like that little devil on one side, angel on the other. And you are like, well, you can just quit and walk away and go play for a fun team and just have all the fun you want. In that same scenario, it's like, will you ever get better as a goalkeeper if somebody's not challenging you, is not pushing you to become better? And then on the other side, right, it's like, well, I need to stay. I'm going to show this person. I'm going to just become as good as I can possibly become so that there's nothing that this person could ever say. And so all of this was turmoiling in my mind today. And I just, wow, sometimes those things get in your skin and they just won't go away. And I get it. I've been re-listening, to the second book in the Secret series called The Power. I'm not saying that because I get any money out of it. I'm just saying it's a really good book. And it really makes a lot of good points. As I was leaving the soccer field yesterday after all those hours of playing, of course, the track that was coming on talked about us being absolutely in control of our own happiness. And that if we can find ourselves in a bad mood, we can also create a new mood for ourselves. And we have to figure out, in a lot of ways, how do we do that? Like I said, sometimes it doesn't happen right that instant. For me, it was at least half a day today and last night. And it just takes a lot of effort sometimes. You have to sometimes go back and look at why did that person react the way they did. Perhaps they have their own emotional baggage or their own dump truck that they need to empty, and you just happen to be there when they did it. Perhaps this person doesn't have any of their own self-confidence, and maybe they're just inadequate in a lot of ways in their lives, and they're finding other ways to make themselves feel bigger. I'm not talking bad about him because I don't know what's going on. I only see him on the soccer field. I'm just throwing out ideas. And perhaps it's just that I need the challenge to actually take the game more serious. Even though I feel like I am taking the game really seriously, perhaps I'm not. Perhaps I'm not playing as hard as I can. Perhaps I'm not coming out after the ball as much as I can. There's a lot of things that could be part of that equation. So everybody in our life is meant to teach us something. The other thing I thought about to kind of wrap up that equation a little bit is that those two goals that went past me, the easy ones, were made by people on the field, on the other team, of course. And perhaps those goals needed to be made by those people. Perhaps they're having a lot of struggles in their life and they're feeling like they're not as good as they used to be, and they're just feeling inadequate on the field, and they're having a rough life. And perhaps them making those goals, I believe it was two different people. I don't remember so much soccer yesterday. But maybe those two goals just created such positivity in their life that it's going to make a whole new trend for them. And I'm absolutely all about that. I like to play hard, but if something goes past me, got it, it's done. I'm not going to sit there and cry about it. Let's move on. Let's keep playing, because we're out there to have a good time and to exercise and to play as hard as we can. But on the other side of that, if you look at the grand scheme of the universe or the cosmos or whatever this reality is, there's reasons for everything. So if those people that made them goals just became much a better person because they made those goals, maybe they hadn't made a goal all season. Perhaps me missing those two easy ones and them scoring a goal was the whole world to them. That is awesome, right? But there's got to be a lot of strategies. We have to come up with strategies to figure out how to change our mood, to satisfy or grow the roses rather in our garden so that those weeds of anger or depression or sadness or looking at this guy's face don't appear anymore, or they're not relevant anymore. So what I started to do on the soccer field is, regardless of whether we win or lose, whether I play bad or play well, what I've started to do, instead of focusing on the mistakes I make or the goals I let go through, even if I'm trying hard, is I start counting the amount of saves that I make. In other words, how many times did I prevent a goal? How many times did I get my hands on the goal and stop a play? I count those stats up, and I should probably track them. But like I said, in the first game, I had like 17 saves, only one goal. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. I mean, they were actually saves. That second game, even though they scored 2 on me, I still had 6 or 8 saves. In the last game, even though we got stopped short because of an injury, I had like 12 or 13 saves. I think you get the idea. Is maybe we can change our mindset and focus on the things that are more positive instead of the things that are more negative. I could have stayed up all night replaying those 2 simple goals I missed and probably just really stressed myself out. But I don't think that's necessary. I think it's easier and better for us mentally, physically, spiritually to actually just find the silver lining in the cloud, to find the things that make us feel good about the things that we did. Now, I'm not saying that gives us an excuse not to strive to be better, to work harder. In my case, at being a soccer goalkeeper, yes, that's important because I like this game and I like to play for the teams and I want to be invited out and I want to stay on teams. So I need to do that. We don't need to use those as excuses, but if we find ourselves in this funk like I did last night and most of this morning, we have to really figure out how to raise that vibration back up to a different space. And like I said, this one, usually I don't have a lot of trouble, about trying to raise my vibration and changing my mood and to try to do something different with my mentality. But this one was different. It was a little harder for me, and I'm not entirely sure why. And we kind of talked about that and tossed some ideas around. But the thing is, if we expect our mood to change instantly, it may or may not happen. Some people can do that. But there's also a number of mental disorders, or classified mental disorders, I should say, where people do switch their mentality and their moods really quickly. What I'm talking about is in a normal scope of mentality, how hard it is to change something, especially if you're depressed or mad or angry. It can be very difficult to figure out how we're supposed to change that. In the Power and the Secret series, it talks a lot about that the primary law of the universe is love. It's either there's love or there's not love. Giving love is what is going to bring love in return. Not that we give love to get return, but that love is the ultimate measure of a man or a woman or a human being or I guess in animals, I don't know. I was really struggling with that because I was thinking about that and trying to figure out how I could bring love into this person, and I could just see their eyes and the glare of it's like this evil glare that looking back at me all the time, and then continuing to banter with me about how bad I was. I'm like, how do you do that? I mean, that seems so very, very difficult to do. But I seem to be able to do that over the day when I started to piece some of these things together like I talked about. All right, so let's look at this, right? Those guys that scored the goals probably needed to, and they probably needed to have that in their life that day. And so I was able to help them with that. I was able to make tremendous amount of saves and some really outstanding ones. And I started to measure my success instead of my failures. And it seemed to tip the scales. It pushed it over 50%, if you will. And it started to go more into the positive. If you look at a meter from 0 to whatever, it went past that 50% mark, that halfway mark, and it started rolling. And the thing is, once something starts to roll, especially in an attitude or an emotion or a feeling, it will start to compound, right? Because our mind, our subconscious, listens to everything that we think, everything we feel, all of that, and it responds to that, and it goes out, it seeks out things that are going to support that moment, those moments, those feelings, those thoughts. If you don't change that frequency, if you don't change that feeling somehow, if you don't change the emotion somehow, you're going to continue throughout your day. And sometimes these things can perpetuate a lifetime if you're not careful. I mean, that's pretty drastic, but I work with a lot of clients over the years that this has happened to them. Something that happened to them years and years and years and years ago is still affecting them because they never checked that. They never put a boundary up. They never tried to change it. They never tried to look at things a little differently. To figure out how you can insert love into that situation, in this case, that game, so that you can feel a whole lot better about the day and the game. Allow yourself to drift across that 50% on the happiness meter or the good feeling meter. And I think all of us really need to do that a little bit more, because let's just face it, in this world today, there is a lot of things, a lot of events, a lot of things that are going on in this world that can bring us down, that can change our focus, and it can bring our focus into things that are negative. Look at the news. Turn on the news in any fashion, right? Alternative, social media, mainstream, it doesn't matter. There's bad news everywhere. You look at the political race right now. Everybody's talking bad about everybody. Which one's the worst? I guess we're going to pick the least of the worst, I guess. I don't know. I think you understand where I'm going, is that it is really easy to get caught up in emotions and feelings and ideas and propaganda that really is not meant for us to get caught up in. I'm not saying we shouldn't be informed. Yes, we should. But at the same time, we must be mindful of what we bring into our lives and are allowed to be in our lives. And if they need to be in our lives, like this person, for example, I need to figure out a way to counter that so that I don't get affected like I was yesterday and this morning, because that's not good for anybody. And you guys all know that are listening to this podcast that you have at least one person like that in your life. Could be a boss, could be a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a spouse. It could be a friend. It could be all kinds of things, all kinds of people. We have to figure out what will work best to keep our mentality and our emotions and our feelings at a level that is going to be productive. The other part of that equation is that sometimes for example, if I continue to go out and play soccer on this team with this guy playing in front of me, and he continues to do the same thing every single time, then I may have to make a decision that, is this the right team for me to play on? Is this the right idea of mental health for me? Yes, I'm getting exercise. Yes, I'm having fun. But at the same time, is this going to be worth me getting off track emotionally to continue playing with this person? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm going to have to figure out probably a way to go into this game ahead of time and not allow that to happen as much. And one way, of course, is to just be better, right? To become better and to practice more and to get, I get it. I shouldn't have to live up to his ideal of me because I'm happy with me. I had a good time. I'm sore as hell today. I had a wonderful 4.5 hours of playing soccer. It was great. Barely moved. But that's really my goal. No pun intended. We all have to figure out in life what it is that feeds our fire and what dims down that fire. If the people in your life are putting logs on your fire, great. If they're pissing on your fire, you might want to replace them or find a way not to interact with them if it's something that is going to continue to cause problems for you. I'm not saying you need to run from everything. I'm not saying that at all. Because, that was my first inclination because I've done that many times and many teams. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of hearing it. I just walk away and I find another team. And the problem is if you don't fix the reasons why you're walking away from a team, you're going to continue walking away from a team. And I happen to like everybody else on the team. It's just one guy. And I don't even know if the rest of the team knows he does it. And maybe I need to just pull him aside and talk to him. And if that doesn't work, then maybe I'll talk to the team captain. And there's always ways to go about things. We must make our own choices. We must make informed, clear decisions and choices to facilitate the life that we want, to have the emotions, the positive emotions, the positive feelings, quote unquote happiness in our life. And we need to take away the things in our life that just are not working. And that no matter what we've tried, how we've tried, make sure you've actually tried before you walk away. Sometimes we might need to walk away because it's easy to run from the same scenarios over and over again. It's the same problem in relationships, and we don't fix the problems from the last one. We bring it to the next one. We wonder why it keeps turning out the same. And so a lot of ways what's happening here could just be repeating patterns for me because I'm allowing people to dictate the teams that I play on and the way I play and the mentality I have on the field. And I got to figure out the best way to manage that so that I can keep playing. I love to play. And this is even a team I don't have to pay to play on, which is even better, right? Because they have a sponsor and that's really cool. Why would I want to throw that kind of opportunity away just because of one person? Let's go back to the original idea. It is easy, as you can see, for one person in your life, even for 90 minutes in a day, to completely ruin your night and almost completely ruin your morning. It doesn't take a lot for somebody to do that. So let's flip this around. Let's make sure that we, us, me, you, everybody, are not the people that are doing that to others. Remember that everybody should be challenged in a way, but there's a way to do that without making them feel like worm dirt. There's always a way to help people understand how they can get better without chastising them openly in front of everybody else. Let's do our part to make sure that we are not that guy, the kind of guy I'm talking about, that we are lifting people up, as our new presidential candidate, vice president currently says. We should be lifting up people instead of bringing them down. What's the point of bashing somebody about how bad they did and expect that to actually help them become better? I don't know too many people that take negative criticism like that and actually turn it into a positivity. right? There's not many people out there that would accept that. Yes, say something, turn around, keep playing, perfect. But I get it. Not everybody has learned these things, and they're going to have to learn them at my expense, perhaps. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of circle back on this. So just understand that there are going to be people in your life that are going to challenge you, but let's take stock in that and see what it is that you're supposed to learn from that. And I learned some things as I was talking my way through this. I didn't even think about some of these things until I got behind this mic. We have to figure out what it is that we can take from every situation, from every person, no matter how bad it seems or how wrong it seems. There's always a lesson in there that we can take away and become a much better person. So I now have an idea of how and why I was feeling like I was feeling. This is a reminder that I have not fixed some things from the past, perhaps, and that I need to do that to move forward and to become a much better player and to become a much better manager of my feelings on the soccer field in a very competitive league. So let's all challenge ourselves to look at everything, look at the silver lining. Let's look at the lessons. Let's look at how we can move forward with all the things that have happened to us and not allow situations and people in our lives to dictate how we live our lives and not stay in that rut, stay in that funk, and let's move forward. As usual, I would love to hear from you guys about your stories and how maybe you figured out how you can manage feelings in tough situations like this. Perhaps I can learn from you. You can learn from me. Everybody learns. It's great. If you'll go to my website at lifebymazak.com, LIFEBYMAZAK.com. I spell it because my last name is a little different. I look forward to hearing from you. You will always hear from me many times over. Stay strong and live your life.